and welcome to the SciFirst MovieTalk episode. So, in this episode, I will be continuing my prehistoric journey, my adventure, if you like, that I started last week, and discussing the 2015 science fiction sequel cum reboot, Jurassic World, as directed by Colin Trevorrow. Yeah. Now, this is the fourth movie in the franchise, now with the rebranded title, of course, Jurassic World, as opposed to Jurassic Park, released some 14 years following 2001's Jurassic Park 3. And although it does technically, it serves as a direct sequel to the original movie, 1993's Jurassic Park. So, yeah. However, it doesn't quite retcon the other two movies. It simply just ignores them. For all intents and purposes, the events in these movies indeed happened within the same universe. Indeed, they are still considered part of the franchise's canon, I believe. However, they happened on a different island to those in the original and in Jurassic World. And so, they're just simply not mentioned in this film at all. In this film, so in this, it requires no prior knowledge of any of the previous films in order to enjoy the story. You can pretty much dive straight into this film and catch up with the others later, if you wish. Which, of course, is absolutely great if this is your entry point into the franchise. So, Jurassic World sees John Hammond's vision realised. So John Hammond, of course, being the guy who dreamed up the concept of Jurassic Park in the first place, as played by Richard Attenborough in the first two movies. And this one sees a fully functioning dinosaur zoo and theme park, all set up on the original Isla Nublar, yeah. And indeed has been operational for the last 10 years or so. The park, however, is suffering from a lack of new attractions, and in their plan to kind of revive the park, the company develops a new and dangerous original incarnation, the Indominus Rex, which is a hybrid of some of the most fearsome dinos that we have encountered in the previous movies, and a number of other animals, each possessing their own unique abilities. This dino doesn't like to play by the rules, nor with others, and kills for sport. Faster, more ferocious, and extremely intelligent. It isn't long before it escapes, of course, and starts running rampage through the park. Trying to control the situation are newcomers to the series, Park Operations Manager Claire Dearing, as played by Bryce Dallas Howard, and the Velociraptor expert Owen Grady, as played by Chris Pratt. Their task is made ever more complicated by the fact that Claire's nephews are visiting and have managed to become lost in the interior of the island. What sets loose is just simply out-and-out carnage. So, although the movie doesn't see any of the main cast from any previous entry in the series return, it does actually see the return of B.D. Wong as Dr. Henry Wu, who, in this film, is the lead scientist behind the development of the Indominus Rex. So, for me, this was an absolutely welcome return to the world of dinosaurs, which first graced our screens back in 1993, and did absolute wonders to correct some of the wrongs of the rubbery dinosaurs featured in Jurassic Park 3, which, as you will see from my review of that movie, was still very watchable and a great fun film, but wasn't all there with regards to the special effects and didn't really do much for moving on the series in any great shakes. If, of course, you haven't seen any of my reviews for the previous movies in this franchise, please do check them out, if, of course, you have the time. But one thing that kind of stands out for me from the very start is that Jurassic World takes on a more futuristic approach to the park and attractions than its predecessors does. So, okay, I know that the sheer fact that we have genetically engineered dinosaurs is futuristic in itself. It's sci-fi for now, but it is still rooted in today's science. We are able to clone animals, right? We have a man-made creature designed from scratch. So this film takes that to the next level. And the park itself is whilst very, very spectacular. You know, they have spared no expense. But it also contains a number of futuristic elements not actually seen in the previous two movies. And as far as I'm aware, not currently feasible with today's tech, like the gyrosphere. Correct me if I'm wrong. The original Jurassic Park had electric-powered jeeps, for instance. In Jurassic World, like I've said, we have orbs which can run off-road and get you right up close and personal with the dinosaurs, even when, perhaps, you don't really want to. Being a sequel to the first movie, it was nice to see some really great moments that pay homage to the original movie. It's a bit of nostalgia thrown in for good measure, I thought. Do watch out for them when you watch them. You know, you can't really miss them because every time one is about to happen, we get a piece of the original Jurassic Park theme as created by John Williams, just to kind of let us know that we should be feeling nostalgic at that point in time if we didn't know already. In this, it does continue to feel like a Jurassic Park movie, okay? Definitely modernised, but not to the point that it's unrelatable or unrecognisable as part of the franchise. This film does actually breathe new life into what could have become a very tired formula, bringing it smack bang up to date for a brand new generation of dinosaur fans, especially in today's effects saturated market. The film, of course, not being as groundbreaking as the original Jurassic Park in this respect, and kind of following a raft of films involving creatures from Kong to Godzilla, all of which surpass, of course, that, you know, they surpass what happened, obviously, and what they did in Jurassic Park, and what that movie achieved all them many years ago. But Jurassic World holds its own, and brings us some spectacular dinosaur effects, which are, once again, a mixture of CGI and animatronic artistry, and a simply menacing new creature, exemplifying and magnifying the question, can science take things too far? Should we have meddled? I thought the dinosaurs themselves were pretty impressive too, not just with regards to the effects, but also to the way that we do get to see a wider range of emotions from the animals. You know, they're given feelings and personalities, which do play out very well within the film, the way it's intertwined. They're not just mindless brutes, but animals we can actually care for, feel for, and to even sympathise with. It certainly grazed the line between humans and dinosaurs, kind of building on what we had started to discover about them in the previous movies. The appearance of some of the dinosaurs is, admittedly, you can see that a little bit more of an artistic license has been used. But I did actually note that this was actually explained in the movie, that the owner of the park, Simon Masrani, as played by Irfan Khan, didn't want realistic. He wanted bigger, better, more impressive traits, more teeth. And this plays well into the kind of corporate nature of the park itself. However, in this, the ownership structure of the company, presumably in InGen, as they, of course, make their appearance as the film goes on, is a little complex for my liking, for what it is. You know, as somewhere in the mix, the Masrani Corporation have a hand in it too, as well as InGen. And if I'm honest, Masrani's philosophies and ownership style didn't really match the authoritarian and micromanaging style of Deering's, which, for me, did feel kind of at odds when they were both on screen. One didn't seem to care at all, and the other one too much. And usually it's the other way around. But in terms of overall plot, this is actually a bit more layered than the previous entries in the franchise. It still follows the same basic premise. A dinosaur goes on the rampage. But it also adds a number of side stories, including an ever-developing bond between two brothers in the face of adversity, that's it, and one concerning the training and utilization of velociraptors for military purposes. The film has a fairly decent mix of action and suspense, but it is perhaps a bit more graphic than those that went before it. And I would say that it does kind of contain some mild horror style scenes. But what I would say is that I did find it a lot slower to kind of get into the action. It does kind of try to build up the characters and the overall story, but this did make the beginning of the film feel somewhat more elongated than perhaps it needed to have been. Once the action starts, though, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. The new dino creation is superb. If but perhaps a little bit on the anthropologic side, if I've got that word right, human looking. But that, in my opinion, is what makes it even more terrifying. It was an abomination, and I just love the way that they made it seem almost like it was even despised by its dinosaur peers. What was also good was the fact that although the Indominus Rex had a few special talents, they still made it feel like a real animal. Something that didn't seem silly and over the top. You know, it wasn't blasting fire out, you know, and things like that. It really felt like this was something that could potentially exist, just with more teeth and a right bad attitude. It all builds up into one epic final showdown, one which may just restore order to the rightful ruler of Jurassic Park. World. The human counterparts, they're quite good too, all told, especially the leads. Dallas and Pratt have some real great on-screen chemistry together and have some great power play banter that, of course, ultimately subsides into respect and admiration. But no, they do play the respective roles very well and help to bring some much-needed humour to the proceedings. The human side of the story isn't lost in the movie and is quite enjoyable throughout. Finally, to finish, a note about the musical themes, as I do quite a bit, and certainly for the Jurassic Parks series. As for me, this is what added to the greatness of the original Jurassic Park. So, as I touched on, you know, the original themes do make a resurgence in this movie, as they were originally intended. But these are kind of set against the scenes which take the nostalgic nod to the original movie. Instead, for the main movie, we now have Michael Giacco at the musical helm. And although his musical tones do fit very well with the feel of the movie, they're just not up to those written by John Williams all those years ago. I would say, however, they are better than those that he penned for The Lost World. They at least have these in this movie have the feel of Jurassic Park. So overall, this is an excellent movie. It's an excellent reboot of the Jurassic Park franchise with some fantastic and interesting new characters, human and dinosaur, and with some great homage paid to the original movie. With plenty of action, suspense, and even some horror, this is a great popcorn movie, which breathes a bit of new life into a tired and tested monster on the rampage story. Oh, and just to say, before I sign off, I did actually have the privilege of being able to ride the reimagined Jurassic World ride at Universal Studios in Los Angeles, about 2 weeks after it opened in 2019. It wasn't planned that way. We just got absolutely lucky on the day that we went to visit. It's the same basic ride that they had for Jurassic Park, just with some more like revamped scenery and ride experiences. All told, we queued for about 3 hours that day. And yes, it was certainly worth the wait, absolutely. It is an absolutely fantastic ride, and I wholeheartedly recommend it if you do ever visit the park, or any of the other Universal Studios, if they've got that ride. I'm not sure. But yes, that brings me to the end of this episode. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please leave a like. Please do hit that subscribe button for more movie reviews, more what we did, yeah, more movie reviews, more trailer reactions, and more other movie-related content. But most of all, we've loved having it at SciFirst MovieTalk. Please do return for obviously more videos like this. But yeah, thank you for watching, and goodbye.